The dynamic warm-up serves two important purposes. Its main function is to prepare the body for exercise by taking all the muscles, joints, and connective tissue through the range of movement it will be exposed to during the workout. It also serves as an assessment tool for the instructors to identify weaknesses and limited ranges of movement with participants. Now let's get started. We begin the warm-up with a V-stand trunk rotation to open up the thoracic spine and passively stretch the hamstrings and adductors. Begin by taking a wider than shoulder width stance and folding forward at the waist, placing one hand on the center of the axle. With the opposite arm, reach up towards the ceiling, follow it with your gaze to rotate the chest open while keeping the hips square. Exhale and pause at the top of the movement to get a deeper rotation. Inhale as you bring the top arm down and repeat on the opposite side. Alternate this movement 3 to 5 times in each direction. Maintaining this wide stance and pointing the toes slightly outward, we move into a lateral lunge to open up the hips. Keeping the chest up, sit back into your hips as you lower the body down to one side with heels in contact with the floor. Extend the arms forward as a counterbalance, using the axle wheels for support if needed. Push through the planted foot to return to the starting position and repeat on the opposite side. Alternate this movement 3 to 5 times in each direction. From here, we continue to warm up the legs and open up the hips with a standing figure 4 squat. Stand on one leg and cross the opposite ankle over the planted leg, just above the knee. Keeping the chest up, sit back into your hips as you sink into a deep squat with the heel of the standing leg planted firmly on the floor. Hold for a pause at the bottom of the movement, using the axle wheels for support if needed, before returning to the starting position. Perform 3 to 5 pulses on one leg, then repeat on the opposite side. Next, we move into a standing hip extension movement to stretch and activate both the glutes and hamstrings. Keeping a flat back, fold forward at the waist and take a shoulder width grip on the axle. Maintaining this braced hip hinge position and the hip square, place the weight into a single standing leg. Keep the opposite leg as straight as possible as you extend it back and away from the body, aiming to get it parallel to the ground. Perform 3 to 5 reps with one leg, then repeat on the opposite side. Continuing to open up the hips, we move into a deep squat frog stretch. From this deep squat position, keep the chest up and bring the arms inside the legs, placing the hands together on the center of the axle. Next, gently press the knees apart by applying pressure with the elbows. Hold this position for 15 to 20 seconds, focus on deep inhales and exhales. Moving on to the upper body, we perform an overhead chest stretch by taking a wide grip on the axle and raising it directly overhead. Gently lean the chest forward, maintaining the overhead hold to open up the shoulders and get a stretch through the chest. Hold this position for 15 to 20 seconds, focusing on deep inhales and exhales. Next, we move into an overhead squat to improve shoulder mobility and proper squat technique. Maintaining the overhead hold on the axle, keep the chest up as you sit the weight back and drop into a deep squat, working to keep the axle directly overhead throughout the movement. Perform 3 to 5 slow and controlled reps. From here, we drop the bar down on the shoulders and move to the front of our mat to perform a reverse linear lunge. Begin by taking a large and controlled step back with one leg, making sure that the knee of the front leg is not caving in or out and is positioned over the toes. Drop the back knee down and hover it above the mat, holding it for a brief pause to get a stretch through the hip flexor. Return the back foot to the starting position and repeat on the other side. Alternate this movement 3 to 5 times on each leg. We conclude the warm-up by introducing horizontal bracing by using the rolling functionality of the axle bar. Begin with a kneeling rollout from a full kneeling position and the hands in a shoulder-width grip. Lead with the hips and roll out, keeping the hands directly under the shoulders. Perform 3 reps and progress to a plank position by lifting the knees at the end of the kneeling rollout. Perform 3 reps of this plank hold before finally moving into a standing rollout. Lastly, perform 3 reps of a standing rollout by rolling out into a plank and then back, staying braced through the core throughout.